Mark's the coolest.
He is the coolest. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Everyone's a Little Queer. We have the beautiful soul of Kelly with us. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so great. I'm so great.
I'm so excited to have you here
I'm excited to
and
be here.
talk to you about your journey, which
Yes.
I feel has gone still in a journey that you're
Oh,
in.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. Constantly exploring the journey of what I am or who I am and how that looks in the queer space or the world in general.
And where right now are you in that journey, do you feel?
I don't know, man. If you had asked me a year, I was really confused. I have been with women for at least 10, 11 years exclusively. And then I met a guy at work, and you couldn't have told me that would have been something I'd go for at
Right.
all. Like, I think I would have identified more as a lesbian, but now maybe back to like a bi situation or
Okay.
demisexual. What's the one where it's like, oh, it's somebody that's interesting to you? You have to have like that connection. Because
Well, I think that's, you have, I think, because we've talked about it, and as well, I think that's how you kind of identified yourself when you were coming on, was either pansexual or demisexual.
yeah,
So pansexual, I believe, is more of that attraction to anyone regardless of
the
gender.
person
It's the
or
person.
the gender or the body parts or the presentation in the world. It's more
Right.
like the connection, I think. So I think that would be where I'm at now. I really struggled with it when I met this guy because it was so challenging to what I thought I was or who I thought I was and what I wanted to present in the world and how, and maybe you would understand this too, but like, how do I maneuver in a heterosexual relationship in the world and not
Right.
lose the part of me that's part of like the queer part or the family or the bisexual part and not feel that loss of losing the community? Because if you just saw me walking around and I'm not holding the hand of a woman, like I
Right.
probably just look like quote unquote everybody else or maybe an ally at best without having to like, I slept with women 2 years ago. Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have to like, I don't know. Well,
Like,
at first I felt like I had to do that. I don't feel like that as much anymore, but
I think that's good. A lot of that, I mean, there's no right answer to queerness.
yeah.
It's allowing yourself to have the broad range and spectrum of sexuality, and then pick kind of where you line up with. And if you fall into the pansexual, it's all about the person and not about the gender, or
Right.
it's about that person. Or that demisexual. I've met a couple people who are demisexual, and they're like, they will not have any sort of sexual attraction to anyone unless first there's a strong emotional connection to that
Oh, I
person.
don't think that's it. 'Cause
No.
it's usually more of a drunken curiosity that starts it. So
Well,
that's
then I think
whatever that is.
yeah, pansexual might be your thing
I
then.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like I said, it was hard at first to be with like a older white man and then be presenting like in the world as just like
This
that.
Caucasian, heterosexual,
Yeah,
cis-normative couple.
heteronormative people, and I felt like a huge longing or a missing of like just that initial snap judgment of people that most people, if you think about like how, at least when I was growing up, like people didn't want to be seen as gay or didn't want to be seen as queer or weird or other,
Right.
that they would hope that that would be a reassurance to them to lose that snap judgment. Whereas when I lost the snap judgment of being part of the family, it really felt, it was hard for me. And I was like, I don't know about this.
Do you feel that you lost that? Like, because you talk about family, and in this sense, we're talking about chosen family, that queer
like
community.
the queer community as the quote unquote family.
Right. And so you just feel like you lost that when you started dating a man, or?
I feel like I thought I lost that and I
Okay.
didn't, but I thought that I was either gonna lose it or be judged by it or be excluded, as like if I go to a gay bar now everyone's gonna think that I'm just the token Johnson
You're just
County.
the woo girl.
Yeah. Johnson County girl on a bachelorette party, like woo, and I
Yeah.
felt like I had to justify myself, but not as much anymore, so that's
Okay.
good.
What
Yeah.
helped you get over through that? Just acceptance? I mean, it's almost as if you were coming out a second time.
It kind of was. And then, like, it's a little bit, it was in my head, like, I don't want the part of me that was with women and exploring that part of myself, everyone to think it was a phase. I think what I had to do is stop caring what labels other people were going to put on me and put that to the side.
Right.
Because I was very, like, thinking that everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, that was a phase, and now she's back to normal." Like, I
Yeah,
don't
well,
want
what is normal?
or yeah,
It's,
well,
you know,
white North
perspective of
Dakota.
normal is d I feel like you're normal. I feel like I'm normal.
The North Dakota
Got yeah,
hetero plans
yeah.
normal. I'm from North
What
Dakota,
somebody
by the way.
sees for you, their journey of themselves, but projects to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, okay, good. Now she fits in the boxes that I thought she should fit in, and now I can understand what she's doing." So I think that got better for me. Like, I stopped caring what people were thinking, and I stopped caring what people were labeling, and was more just like, "How do I feel in this space, and how am I treated, and how it's a bit different than what I'm used to," which is probably a good thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that made it easier to
Well,
let that go, but not be and then realize, like, I don't have to I still have a huge flag outside of my house. I still have a sticker on my car. Like, I don't have to, like, give that up,
no.
nor would I. So,
No. And I think for anybody who you had that fear of, oh, they're going to think it was just a phase. I mean, you were with a woman for so long.
yeah.
I mean, you and your ex were together for so long. And that's somebody that you loved, and that
Mhm.
was of the same sex. And I mean, the same with me. I mean, I was married to a woman
Yeah.
for with a woman for 10 years before I was like, this isn't what I want. Dated a couple women
Yeah.
after that and realized that's not what I want. And then found Mark. And,
I
the
think it's
rest is
all
history.
yeah, about the
I,
connection with the person.
I definitely think it is. You got to find someone that's going to make you happy and love you for you and you and your queerness, right? And
Yeah.
that's not something you ever hidden either. I mean,
No.
that's something you've always been very outspoken with, and I
Yeah.
think that's super important for yourself to understand is you've never stepped away from the community. You've just adjusted how you fit yourself into the community.
I think it was weird too, because like, the timing of this switch for me, like, I started traveling for work a lot, and then I switched to an all overnight type of shift. So I feel like a lot of, like, my feeling of loss of a community wasn't that I lost a community, it was that my world changed a little bit, and so,
Right.
like, maybe I can't go to a drag show because they start at 10, well, my shift starts at 10, or like
Right.
like you and I, like, I don't see you as much at work anymore, so,
Yeah.
like, you lose a little bit of that because of the hours I work, and then traveling for weeks at a time, like, I think that those 2 things in my head got a little confused.
Right. And I'm sure when you're traveling, it's hard. You're always meeting new people.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to sit there and try to explain Kelly over and over and over again because that's
No,
exhausting.
it's
And it's just
exhausting.
also, you work so much. When you do these travels, right? I mean, it's working constantly, not a whole bunch of downtime. So, not a whole bunch of time to go out into that place's queer community and like just
No, a
go
lot of
hang
the
out.
shifts are, like, evening shifts just for how it works, like, schedule-wise, so, like, I'm around during the day, so it puts me going to the yoga studios with all of
Yeah.
the other stay-at-home people.
Yeah.
So, it's just that isn't not I'm not bashing anything about that or whoever
Right.
who lives their life, but then that definitely doesn't feel like my community, so I think that I got those 2 things confused a lot when I was first, like, doing this, so
Well, like I said earlier, it's almost like you were doing this second coming out for yourself, and saying, identifying in a new way of who you are and trying to figure out how you fit your life that you've had
yeah.
into the life that now you see yourself having and kind of blending them
Yeah.
happily and healthy into themselves. And it's tough. I mean,
Yeah, and a little bit of letting go of, like, the picture I had in my brain because, like, I'm not saying that if this doesn't go well with the person I'm with now or whatever, it's not like, "Oh, I'm only gonna date men or women or whatever," but, like, in my head, I mean, obviously, I was engaged to a woman before, so it's like, in my head, that's what it looks like.
right.
And so it would be exactly the same as, like, the shift probably the first time, I guess,
Yeah.
but I guess it's less of, like, the what that person looks like and more again how they treat me, how
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
comfortable or stable or not encumbered with a
Right.
person. More just like, oh, we can hang out sometime. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I have to babysit you and take care of you, which is my own fault for the choices I've made before. But
Yeah. No.
what can I buy you? How about a car?
Just throw money at your problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until it leaves. Or
Yeah.
until I kick
Oh,
it
no.
out. Yeah. No.
Well, I mean, we talked about and we hit on that, you have this new coming out, this new journey of yours, but everywhere starts somewhere. I
Right.
mean, when did you first go, you know what? I don't fit into that North Dakota ideology of man, woman, straight life, kids, that kind of thing.
I think that it was slower with me. Like I'm 40, almost 43, so the representation was very different when I was growing up, and I'm so grateful for the representation I see for people now.
Mhm.
Thinking about my niece and nephew in the world and, like, having it's not like if you're not like Ellen on TV or like that
Right.
token, like, gym teacher as a lesbian that always let's get, like, stereotype played up on shows or hinted at shows, like, sometimes it wasn't even like this person is a queer person living in the world. It was like, oh, she's always by herself and she's never been like it was all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So I don't think I had the right representation and then or any, I guess. And then in high school, I think there was one girl that I thought and even she like wasn't super vocal about it. And I feel like I'm not attracted to her, so that
Right.
can't be it. But as I'm watching my friends go like boy crazy and like doing things people do when they get excited about liking someone in high school, I was just like, that's not why?
Yeah.
What are we doing? But I didn't feel that way about females either. So it wasn't, I don't know if I was just slow to develop or I didn't have like that visualization of what it looks like or what, but I just didn't, I felt like, and I mean, I never would have considered myself asexual, but that word wasn't around when I was growing up at
Oh, yeah.
all.
I mean, not even when I was growing around.
But even when I had like was with my first boyfriend or whatever, I wasn't until I was like 19 and I know, like, I was like, "I don't get it." Like, I
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm doing the things. What's the big deal? What is all this?"
Well,
Maybe he was not good at stuff, but
I mean, yeah,
I mean, we're
maybe.
all kids. But maybe I mean, maybe it was lack of attraction, but I was just like, it wasn't really I don't know, I just thought maybe I was, like, slower to develop or because I didn't want to chase boys around, and I still wouldn't chase anybody around now, so maybe that's part of my personality in general, but
Do you think looking back now that the pansexual lifestyle kind of makes a little bit more sense to you? I mean, when you're saying this to me, I'm like, if it's not a girls and a boys thing, it's a person thing, and you really kind of I've noticed. I mean, I've known you for quite a while now
well,
that anytime you find somebody that you are like your heart hits with,
yeah, I
you
get
want to
really
jump in with
excited
that
really
person.
fast.
And then when
Yeah.
you're like, oh no, that person's whatever. It's like I could fuck them, but that's about it.
Yeah, like, for emotional commitment or, like, actually, yeah, wanting to be date with somebody, it happens pretty quick with me, and I get really excited really fast, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
made me some mistakes before, obviously, but, yeah, I think that maybe I mean, it makes more sense now. When I was growing up, I was just like, "Oh, I don't know," and then my friends all got boyfriends, and they were all excited about that
yeah.
stuff, and I was just like and I was always, like, really heavy as, like, a kid and stuff, so then I kinda just was like, "Well, maybe" if somebody liked me, maybe
Hmm.
then I would be like, "Well, maybe,"
Right.
like, being chosen, and I still struggle with that specific one, but, like, I was just like, I don't
It's
know. And I was like, "Well, I don't know, everyone talking about college," and my friends started, like, having sex, and I was like, I don't"
you're like just whatever. It's not.
Yeah,
It wasn't a drive for you to.
no,
Yeah.
and I don't know. So, I think that if I knew what I knew now, like, I think that maybe I would have looked at people different or, like, seen, like, different options instead of
Yeah.
just being like, "Oh, it's boys, like, your same age and blah, blah, blah," and you're like, "No, that's not of
Well,
interest to
that's
me."
culturally though. I mean, that's the whole nature versus nurture where you live, where you've grown up, and the community that you're in. When they foster one thing, when they foster a viewship,
Yeah.
especially, we. I always go back to this. We always hear about in the queer community of don't push that gay agenda. You have to,
Oh,
the
yeah,
gay
our gay
agenda, right?
agenda, yeah.
But then when you have these like heterosexual couples who are very anti-queer and what they're pushing on their kids is like, oh, this is my little 2-year-old toddler and this is his girlfriend. My
Yeah,
best friends are, and you're like, well, you're kind of pushing that on them.
or yeah, certain
You're
religious
pushing
things
yeah,
definitely
that
get
viewship
pushed.
on them, but yet,
When who's your boyfriend? When are you gonna have kids? What kinda
right.
kids do you want? Like, all I mean,
Or as you get older, it's like you start dating somebody, especially of the opposite sex. It's like, well, are you going to have kids? Are you going to get married? Are you going to do
yeah.
what? What does it matter? Maybe not. Maybe I don't want to.
Maybe that's not yeah, that's not the whole point of being in a relationship. I remember,
Right.
like, somebody talking about, like, getting married, like, you get engaged, and they're like, "When are you gonna get married?" And then you get married,
Oh,
and it's
so
like, "When are you
yeah,
gonna have kids?
so
When are you gonna have
fast.
another kid? When are you" and it's just like, "Just get off of me." Maybe I'm more of a private person, ironically, as I do this podcast, but,
I,
like, when people just keep pushing for those things, I'm just like until I fit in your box, like, people are just don't know what to do with you, so they're very
yeah.
uncomfortable, whereas why me doing me, however I do me, matters to you whatsoever, I don't understand.
Do you feel because like So our work is male dominated. Our
Yeah.
our field, aviation in its general, is
Oh, definitely.
heavily male dominated. Do
Yeah.
you see that? Well, especially when you got here to Kansas City or as you do your travels, do you see it more before or now that people try to put you in a box, and how do you feel and navigate that?
That's another hard part about, like, me trying to, like, speak for myself without being, like, I'm bisexual, like, all the
Right.
time because I feel like people just assume, especially as I start traveling, like, I was going to Dallas a lot, and, um, I ended up talking to another controller there, and he's like, "Almost everyone down here is, right wing and all this other
Oh yeah.
stuff," and then it makes me feel like I need to vocalize as a viewing, like, because you talked about in your podcast, like, we're all out there all everywhere. You
Yeah.
just assume that I'm one way because that's what fits in your box, but it's all men everywhere. And even when I was traveling, I think I was in Albuquerque and there was another guy from Minneapolis
Hmm.
that was out there too. And I walked in and I was like, class after class, it was only men. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Does there any girls that work here?" And then one of the other guys was like, "Man, I didn't even realize," because he's a man, he's always been a man in this
Right.
man, whatever, but sometimes it makes me feel like I wanna be louder about who I am because I don't want them to just assume
Yeah.
that I'm what they would assume, but so
It's
I'll
kind
wear
of
buttons and stuff. I always have my cat ladies for Kamala on my
yeah.
backpack still, and, like, I have rainbow stuff I feel like on my phone, but I don't people don't see things that
Well, I think you're right. People don't see it. People will go to great lengths to ignore what they don't want to see, I feel. But you're putting yourself out there. I mean, you're staying visible.
I try to, and even just being as a woman doing this travel job, and honestly, I think that maybe some of it, the reason I got it is because I am,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times, because a friend of mine who's a controller up in Minneapolis got a traveling job, and she took it, and then she realized how much travel it was. She has a couple kids, she didn't want to miss a lot of stuff, and so she ended up turning it down. But everyone was like, "I can't believe you're going to do that. What about your kids? What about your kids?" But I work with multiple other people who
Yeah.
don't nobody's asked the males in the thing that. So,
It's still that 1960s, 1950s view of
it
uh,
feels like it
ultimately women are responsible for the children and the home life.
without even a thinking, and I don't and and then when you get at work all the time and see all the men, like, it doesn't I don't stop seeing it, and when I see a
Right.
new woman that comes in, I try to, like, introduce myself and, like, be welcoming because when I started, it was a lot more, like, kind of competitive, like, there's
Yeah.
only so many women that can do this and be good, so you can't be here, and it's like, well, we can all be here.
Right. Even when I was a controller in the Air Force back in 2009, we had four women that worked in our building, in our radar room. We had four, and they were like, you could tell that every day they showed up to work, they had to be the best of the best, and they
Yeah.
had to be strong willed, and because they were in with 28 other
You
men
have to almost be
constantly.
colder. You have to almost be, like, more accepting than men, like, because when I was
Yeah.
training before I had the job, you have to fit in or you won't stay, but, like, and I can joke about all sorts of things. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be offended about anything, but, like, even when I was training, like, I wasn't, verbal about being with women
Right.
because I'm in the middle of the country, and I feel like it's a red state, and a lot of people talk about, like, being Catholic or whatever, and I just wasn't sure where that would fit, and so I didn't say anything about it until I was also, like, seeing somebody who is a hot mess, and so I wasn't proud of that relationship, so I
Sure.
wasn't gonna push it, but, like, I didn't say anything about being queer at all until I was completely certified, and even then, I felt very uncomfortable because I wasn't sure what people were gonna say, and, like,
And,
that's a career, you're gonna work with these people for 20
right.
years. I need them to want to help me.
I think I mean, if anybody listens to Mark's episode, they'll hear him say the same thing, that he didn't come out in his area until he was done with training for the same
Yeah,
reason
I
of
did the
like,
same.
we're in the Bible Belt, we're this. And then you have people like me who show up day one into this facility wearing my pride shirt and my
Yeah.
rainbow lanyard. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. This is who I am.
I think that
But
comes with
it's,
the confidence of having done the job before maybe,
yeah,
because, like, I hadn't earned my place yet, and it
that's
was
fair.
like, I have to have this job. I mean, if I transferred somewhere else, obviously now I would
Right.
be completely 100% myself, but without, like, I need this income. This is what I went to school for.
Yeah.
Without this, I have nothing. So
Yeah.
I think it's easier to be quiet. Although I am so like proud of people when they come in and they don't have that weight that they have to carry. And I'm
There's
like,
been
how
a
do I
f
foster this
Yeah. There's
for
been
all
a
of the
few
things?
people that have come through that I've seen that immediately you look at them and you're like, part of the queer community. We see them
Immediately. Immediately.
immediately, you know that, and they're just out there they're being themselves and living it, and it brings a certain joy of we do work in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So being able to see these people just confidently come and just be themselves and just
Right.
unapologetically start day one of this is who I
This
am
is who I am.
and
This
move
is
on and that's
yeah,
it. You
it
know,
it
it's
doesn't
wonderful.
actually really matter. Like,
Yeah.
it does matter, but it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
and
care
again,
where you
it's
put your body parts. I don't want you
yeah.
to care about what I do with mine. Like, I don't care about your like, the people at work, obviously. Like, I don't
Well, that's like the when I first got here back to Kansas City. I mean, I've been a controller for 10 years at that point in time, almost. And there was some guy just I think he was down the aisle somewhere, but he just didn't like me. He called me that a-hole trainee because I hung up on him like a couple times because I cannot stand when somebody answers the line and then does not give me your attention, right?
stand by. You called me.
Yeah.
Get off my line.
Yeah. So I just it just bothers the shit out of me. And so but every day I would hear from Kim how he was bitching about me constantly to her. You're training this or training that. And so one day I was passing by him in the hallway and I said, hey, I was like, you know, you bitch about me a lot. He's like, well, you're just an asshole. And I said, well, tell your wife I'm sorry you think about me more than her.
Yeah. Why are you
Like,
focused on me so much?
like, I don't know.
Because you're
If you're
probably
into me,
living
that's
your
fine.
authentic
But
life,
yeah,
and other people, that's what I feel like that's what 90% of the anger is about the queer pride and all of this quote unquote flamboyant or why you guys got to throw this stuff in our face. It's like, well, it's not aggressively directed at you. You can take
right.
it that way, but like that has nothing to do with it. So if you're feeling it personal, then maybe you should take a minute to figure out why. Just like if
Yes.
I had an argument with you for some I can't imagine what, but or anybody in my life, like when I feel like I'm starting to overtake something way too personally,
Yeah.
I take a step back and I think, why is this affecting me like this? It has probably nothing to do with the person that I'm having a fight with.
Right.
If I'm taking it that personal, it's probably because of something inside me that I'm not keen into.
Yeah.
So if you have that much personal attack or think that this is so awful, like then maybe you need to be like, why? Well, maybe
Take a step
because
back.
you're living a life that I don't think that I wasn't allowed to, or I don't think I can, or
Well, with like the pride and visibly showing your pride, right? You say you have the stickers,
yeah,
stuff on your backpack, the sticker on your car, all that stuff. I look at that as no different than these Chiefs fans or a football fan or a baseball fan. Like if you are a diehard
yeah,
fan, you are going to wear their attire every day. It's going to be on your car. You're going to have stuff in your house that memorializes
your
that,
cups
whatever.
and your
But there's
cats.
no different. I just
It's a little
my
bit different, honestly, because pride is like something personal about us or you, whereas the baseball team is like, I like the Royals or I like the Chiefs.
have you seen some of these Chiefs? You know these
I
Chiefs
know that they
fans.
pretty much claim this ownership or
They all
they
have a
take it
stake
like,
in each blade of grass in that Arrowhead Stadium. Is the way I feel.
yeah. So, yeah.
I
So
mean,
I get what you're saying with that, but I'm like, well, this
that's
is,
the way I look at it. Like,
yeah,
if I'm going to show my visibility, if I'm going to be out there and wear my stuff, it's or have my flag, it's no different than you having a Chiefs flag out.
no.
It's not hurting you.
No, it doesn't. Well, flags don't hurt anybody unless they're used as like a, I don't know, how some of the,
I don't.
I'll say right wing nut jobs are using the American flag to make it like a, but that's
I
a
mean,
whole
it's
different podcast.
that's this podcast
But
too. We've
yeah,
talked
but
about
flags
politics on here
don't
before too.
have to be like aggressive unless for some reason you
No,
think something about it is
but
personal.
I mean, so you've done a lot of that like queer events and stuff,
Mm,
and you've been around, and I've done quite a bit, and not one time do I ever see anything aggressive in a way that's like we have to stand, you know, like how MAGA people are when they do their rallies and stuff like that. Most any rally, pride
yeah,
event, even take something like when we went to earlier this summer, we went to Chapel Roan.
right.
Like that's a
That's a
bunch of queer
huge
people,
amount of people.
and not one problem. I did not see one issue the entire night and day we were there.
I feel like there's so much battle that you have to do as like othered person, which seems so crazy. That's like an othered person type of thing, but like you're an othered person. Like we're fighting all the time.
Yeah.
We don't want to fight.
Right.
We keep pushing and we want to be visible and we want to be viewed and we want to be treated equally and have all of these rights. We're sick of fighting.
Right.
And so, like, if we can be peaceful, especially around each other, like, if we can feel like, oh, this is a safe place because I know that somebody's not going to roll their eyes if I kiss my girlfriend, like, we can have these safe spaces, and we don't want it. Who wants to fight all the time?
It's exhausting.
And then when I'm seeing these other, like, it's so much anger, but I feel like just like in any argument between any person, like anger is like an outer emotion. So there's like the simpler emotions, and as you work your way in and actually like divide that emotion or really look at it, like anger is like a protective emotion. If I'm mad, then that keeps me safe. If
Yeah.
I'm, defensive, if I'm sad, if I'm hurt, those are ones that I have to actually acknowledge like pain for me. So if I can be like mad at them, if
Right.
I'm mad at you or the way you are, then that keeps it away from me reflecting and being introspective at all.
Right.
So I don't have to think about why I'm mad or if I actually hurt or I'm disappointed in myself or I'm feeling left out or any of the other emotions that anger hides. So like if you had to find who you are as a queer person and deal with all these inner type of workings to get to that, then you're maybe used to delving a little deeper on the emotional scale. But if you never have to do that and you just want to operate in anger and hate and all that stuff, that's just such a basic, worthless emotion. So like those like angry people using angry things to do angry things, like it's if they let go of that anger and have to just be in their own boring ass world where there's nothing wrong or
Yeah.
reflect on their own, then that's a lot of stuff. What do they do with that big empty void if they
Yeah.
can't shout and point and hate? Look at your own boring life, I guess, or
Go get a hobby.
take a look at like your insane amount of debt, or look at where all those flags that you're throwing in people's faces are made, and then still be like, oh, we hate Chinese people, but all of our stuff comes. Like,
Yeah.
you'd have to actually look at some stuff about yourself, and people just can't do that.
I think that we have such a God complex at times in our society of
I think that all the time. Every time I look around, that's all I see.
it's so much of people every single day being like, I'm here, I'm number one, you need to fit my narrative and you need to follow what I do. And we see it a lot. I see it a lot around here, like just the Bible Belt. And even when
Yeah,
we go
like
back to
mega
like South
church
Carolina,
people.
because it is still a red state, it's
Oh,
still
sure. Yeah.
heavily, it's that Christian push to be prominent in all of society
Yeah.
there. You see all of this, and it's kind of all throughout the states. And but you see this God complex of what they view and what somebody sees and what they think that you have to follow that. But then
Right.
if you try to say,
You follow my way.
well, follow my way, just see it from my perspective of
Yeah.
why I love my husband, or why, if you're dating a woman, why I love this girl.
Right.
They can't wrap their heads around it because they don't want to think like that. A lot of people want you to fit their narrative. But
Right.
if you try to just, again, like you said, just kind of flip it a little, put yourself outside perspective, calm down, take
Yeah.
a breath. We don't do that,
No.
right? I want to hate what I hate. And there's no telling me other than that. And a lot of that is just this horrible rhetoric in the past 10 years that's been pushed to really stop thinking and being empathetic towards other people.
Yeah, empathy goes a long way. Well, I also don't eat meat, and I'm dabbling with veganism just for like, well, animal welfare, but also just like my body just doesn't cooperate with dairy. But that's another like exactly the same vein when I try to explain something like that to people. It's the same thing. They can't wrap their head around it. And they're like, well, why would you do that? Or the fact that I
Yeah.
don't have kids as a woman, that for many years, people would be like, well, why wouldn't you want kids? And then I'd say, well, why do you want kids? And
Yeah.
then their face would be like, I can't believe you'd ask me that. And I'm like, well, you just asked me that. Like,
Yeah.
like, why don't you just worry about yourself and I'll worry about myself? I'm paying my bills and I'm paying my mortgage and you don't have to pay for anything for
Right.
me. So you don't get a space in there. But empathy would go, honestly, even if people just didn't want to do empathy, if they just left people the F alone. Like,
I mean,
don't have the capacity for empathy,
what's,
then just fuck off.
yeah, just worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or why, but then why, if you have this much time to worry about me, or if you have this much time to think about me, then why? Why do
Yeah.
I take up that much space in your world? Because 90% of the time, I don't think about most of this stuff. I mean, it's thrust in your face with the news and coworkers if it comes up at work
Oh
or
yeah.
parental conversations. And you're
Well, and that's one
just,
thing being in, we work in the federal service. We're queer
mm,
people that work in federal service. And one of the things when the current administration took over was, they were going through and just firing people who had pride flags on their desks. And there was a couple at like DOI and
mm,
DOT like headquarters that, they fired because they had the flag. Well, I have the flag that hangs in my headset box.
mm,
And somebody said, "Well, you're going to take that down?" No.
no.
Like, no, I'm not, because this is visibility for that person that might come into, like we've talked about,
Yeah,
this environment that is very strict, rigid of how we are. And you
right.
look around and you would look at me and you look at me most of the time. I mean, besides when I have my nails painted, but you would look at me and just be like, if I'm working, you wouldn't,
Well, you would assume because people assume that
right?
what makes them comfortable.
I'm a white male in the Bible Belt.
Yeah,
I probably have a wife. I have a wedding ring on, so I'm probably married to a
right.
woman.
Well, people assume those things because it fits their narrative too. But yeah,
Right.
I think visibility is super important. I
Yes.
have a huge flag. I think that we have a lot of protection. At least I feel a lot of protection in our job just because it's such a skilled thing that like
Yeah. You can't just go
you
around
can't
getting
just
rid of us.
fire
Yeah.
me and replace me in 5 days on
Right.
indeed.com. So I feel like I do appreciate that, but it's not like I feel as safe as I would have before. But yeah, I have that
Sure.
huge flag. I will say about my flag at my house, it's enormous. And I've had a couple neighbors comment that they are glad I have it up.
Yeah.
There is a lot of like and I mean, say what you want about religion. I'm not religious, but I'm
Right.
not like a religion hater. I hate when religions push things or weaponize, and I feel like it causes lots of problems, but there's a lot of like those Mary statues. There's a lot of Catholic people in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, and I don't know if it's because they send all their kids to Catholic school because the school system blows where I'm at or what. But I wasn't trying to counter that, but it was kind of the same visibility. Like
Yes.
if everyone assumes that everyone here is Catholic because of all these like religious tchotchke things, like I want that visibility to at least, hey, like there's people that are different who can also live in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of people think a lot of queer people are just I don't know, the people that don't live in the actual society and they're just like though those people, the people I don't know what
We're like an anomaly.
anomaly or like we're like
We
the
live in our
weirdos
well,
or
we live in our studio
yeah, we
apartments,
live downtown in our studio apartments with 15 ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Well, some of
But
that's true.
yeah.
Not me, but on those
There are
dating
some
sites,
that are
they're
that
always
way,
living
yeah.
with their ex-girlfriends, but
Well, that's one thing we've always, I mean, right? We had that one neighbor years ago who she got really pissed off because
oh,
I
yeah.
had the pride flag. So I
Yeah.
started every year. Then I start putting every year I put 100 pride flags out,
Yeah.
if not more. And the one year I was late to doing, I didn't hit it on June 1st. I was late. I think I was
Uh,
sick or maybe out of town or something. The neighbor right across the street that lives from me, she saw us outside. She goes, "Where are your flags?" And I said, I just haven't got around to putting them
yeah.
up. And she goes, "Are you going to do that soon?" She goes, "I really enjoy seeing all of them."
Well, because who
And
doesn't like colorful flags flapping in the wind? It's only
yeah,
aggressive if you make it aggressive.
right. And that's where, every year I'm like, because it's a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Well, we had like 450 at the most one year.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, it blisters and it hurts my back. But
We're
then when
getting
we don't
old,
do it and the neighbors are like, "Hey, so where are the flags at?" I'm like, "Oh, well, fuck me. Okay. Get out there, start
They
working."
want a representation or something.
They do. And I mean, I know that, we're not the only gay couple in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a lesbian couple that lives a couple houses down. And then there's another gay couple that just moved in this past year. And they're starting waves of their neighbors down there just can't stand them because they're obnoxious. But I'm like, well, that's not all of us,
Well,
so
yeah.
it's a neighbor thing. We're all different. We all live
We're
our
all
own
different.
journeys.
If every single white man was judged by the worst white man.
Orange face. I mean,
Oh, he's a bad one.
I mean, that's true. And, we talk a lot about this, but, you know, it leads into what is some big misconceptions in the queer community. And I think a lot of the misconceptions aren't put on us from ourselves, it's put on us from that outside person, our outside group,
Yeah,
the church.
decriminalization of it. There's got to be something bad about us. Otherwise, other people would do it.
Yeah. Well, and what do you think that? I mean,
Because it has to have the fear to keep them in line for whatever it is, whether it's like your religion, whether it's the machine that keeps the money going and the marriages and the babies and all that stuff. It's whatever that machine that needs powered by fear, that if we all actually started really questioning what this world does and how we make money and why we make money and where that money goes, like they're worried that we're not making babies or we're
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Which is
know.
wild because I know a lot of queer couples, lesbians,
Yeah, a
gays,
lot of queer
trans,
people do have
a
kids.
lot of them have kids. And like in our instance,
Yeah,
I brought them in from a different
right.
relationship, but there's also a lot that do the IVF or they do surrogacy.
Yeah.
They do all sorts of things and they spend thousands of dollars.
There's a lot of money pumped into the world by and there was all sorts of things that I've read before being single or whatever for a very long time. There's a ton of articles that's like single people are what keep not like you guys because you guys go out, but on the average, like single people are what keep the economy going. They keep the show because they're the ones going out. They're not just like
Yeah.
all we have time to do is kid stuff and then like
Yeah,
Target and
absolutely.
then dinner and then bed and then repeat and repeat and repeat. And it's like, well, the fancy restaurants and all people with kids can do all that sort of stuff. But like, there's a lot of single money that fuels the economy and obviously queer money too.
I
I
think
feel
that's
like
the big thing too, is I think people underestimate like I mean, look at what happened with Target. When Target moved the Pride section to the back and then decided not to do
I
it.
haven't been to Target since.
Right. Do you see how much money they've lost?
And
Hundreds of millions of
there's a Target
dollars.
right down the street from me. I mean, yeah,
I mean, we've gone to Target, but it's definitely was not like it used to be. It was. I mean, Mark and I used to go to Target for literally any and
yeah,
everything, and
yeah.
now it's like if we really have to go,
Well,
well,
because it's pretty close or whatever.
yeah. But even then, I'm like, I could talk ourselves out of it now because I'm like, I don't really want to go to Target. I
Right,
don't want to be there.
right.
You know.
Because of one, well, I mean, there's no way around violence, like, if people were threatening violence and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, I don't
All
know.
all over apparel and all over. It's just it's wild to me that I mean,
All
you're
over,
right.
like, acceptance, like, that's the thing, like,
Yes.
it's not a gay agenda. I wouldn't push anyone to be anything other than who they are because I have seen so many people, and as I get older, like, who have been someone that they thought they were supposed to be, and then that's why everybody has a midlife crisis, or that's why
Yeah.
everyone drinks all the time or hides in romantasy novels, like, because they're avoiding the life that they chose. And my friends and I had a conversation the other day about how nice it is. It's sometimes it's like around the holidays or whatever, you're seeing all of these other people doing all these other things. And so
Yeah.
it's easy to like compare, but like, I don't feel like I'm living any other life than the one I want to. And when I do feel like that, then I adjust it. And
Right.
and so then watching all these other people who have been living this life that they didn't even think or take the time to figure out and then sticking with it, just white knuckling it the whole time and just so miserable. And it's like, what are we doing here? Why are
Yeah.
we doing this?
Well, some people it's hard for them to see themselves that they are in a place that is unhappy.
Yeah,
And
but
they don't
yeah,
have the support
no.
that you might have or that I feel that I have.
Or the lack of responsibility. I do understand like all of those burdens that come, but it's like the pride flag to me is like acceptance and whatever. And so like the hating something that stands for acceptance is just so bananas to me.
Well, yeah. Well, and I feel like when we talk about the opposition community, we're talking about those really aggressive, straight white males who, they're the ones who advocate for, oh, we want a straight pride. We want this, we want that, we want the straight parade. And I'm like, you have that every day that you don't have to worry about walking out in public with your person or
Yeah.
with the clothes that you wear or anything,
You don't think twice about anything that a lot of people think twice about constantly.
or you're not being attacked for being the 1% of 1% of the queer population and being a trans person,
Right. Living your
who are,
true self and you're walking out with maybe
yeah,
apprehension instead of like just what do they say? Carrying yourself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. Like
yeah,
they're just not even thinking. They're just like
right.
boom, boom, doo, doo, because the world has been made for them and then everyone else has to try to
Well, it's,
fit in.
it's made and it continues to operate for them in that way.
But I think that's why I and obviously, I also hate the orange man, but I think that's why there's so much like it's like hopefully the last stand of the hateful white hateful push of and I guess it's not all white, but just like the people hating others and like they're frustrated that Barack Obama was there or that Biden gave so many acceptances away or whatever. And hopefully, like, this is the last like wave before it collapses or like
Yeah.
a black hole star before it just, okay, here's your last chance. We all actually think this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
This is so stupid. And thank you for showing me exactly how you think about us and what you feel about us. And if that doesn't power the polls and they haven't just stolen the election by messing with the machines or whatever, like I'm hoping that this is the last resurgence of this nonsense before we
yeah.
can put this to bed. But
Well, and then to move on from it and just go back to 2010 to 15 with Barack Obama, where we had Obergefell v. Hodges and we had or queer acceptance. You had people, younger generations being able to find themselves and or find avenues out there to be able to help them,
yeah,
you know, with like the Trevor Project is huge. And so being able to have people understand that the Trevor Project is still there,
yeah,
there's still these avenues, but everything the queer community is attacked almost daily that it's so hard to sit here and say, feel confident in doing your research because they can't feel confident doing the research. They don't know who's watching them now. And
no.
it's kind of trying to shove these people back into the closet. But
Yeah, they're definitely trying to do
yeah,
that
but queer people have been around since
forever.
forever.
Just like
Forever.
queer animals, like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you don't believe in science, then you can't,
Yeah.
if you refuse to believe in science and you refuse to believe in all of this stuff. But
Right.
if I don't, like we were saying before, like I don't feel like my living my life, even if I'm holding a hand of a woman, challenges anybody else's life whatsoever. It has
No.
nothing to do with anyone else. So the fact that this bothers you so much, like, but it's the why.
I,
Like,
I heard one time that there was a theory that, some people get so upset at the queer community because of how freeing they perceive that we are,
yeah.
right? Like how just as a community we're able to just be ourselves and live authentically with
Mhm.
kind of to a point of we're just still, even though we're attacked and every time, we're going to be out there, we're
Yeah.
still there just
We're
trying to
still
be
trying,
ourselves.
yeah.
And so it upsets them that they see people actually being happy.
Well, if
And
you're
I think
not
about that kind of
happy
bit.
and
Yeah.
someone else is happy doing things that, like, you were told or against the rules, you're like, "That's not fair."
Right.
Like, it's not
Yeah.
fair that you can be happy doing these things because yeah, I don't know. It's ironic to think about, like, them thinking queer people are so free, yet on the other side, like, you and I are, like, thinking, like, can I be out at work? Should I wear
Yes.
this here? Should I stop at this gas station? Like when I was working in Memphis from Kansas City, there's two different routes to get there. And one of them takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes longer, but it's a lot more highways. So you're going through state, it doesn't matter. Long story long.
Yeah.
One of them is a lot of back roads in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
And I took that first road that first time and I was like, I'll rather take an hour more because can I stop at this gas station with my queer sticker? Even the fact that I have a import car, not like a Chevy or a Ford, gave me pause. A woman by myself, like all of these things. I was
That you're
like,
constantly thinking
I'm
about.
constantly thinking about these things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that because I do feel like we have all this freedom to be ourselves, but at the cost of the judgment and the looks and the backlash and the laws and like all of these other things. So for them to think that we're just out here freely doing all these things because you see us with like pride flags every single day, you might be thinking like, is this a safe place for me? Can I go to this exotic island location? Because will they kill me if I leave?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
can I go to Jamaica? No, because if I leave the resort, I'm going to get killed because I am a queer person. Whereas, like just like you said, you or I, like people maybe think we would maybe present straight to people who would like that to fit in their box or
Right.
whatever. So, like, I would have felt more free going to these places, even with the woman. But the person I was with had like the short hair and looked a little bit more unquote quote unquote gay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go to Jamaica
No.
or even
Yeah.
just put my money to a place that supports like this nonsense. Like
Florida.
go to Puerto Vallarta instead. But like go to the places where you feel accepted. But like we're constantly thinking about, am I safe? Am I safe here? Am I this? Is this? But and much like and that kind of is double part for a female, obviously. But it's like it's all these things that you think about that other people don't think about. And
Yeah.
I've had this
Yep.
conversation a lot with the man I'm dating because the things just like looking around a room and seeing there's no other woman here.
Right.
Looking like sitting at a bar in a hotel because I travel for work and scanning and realize I'm the only woman here. There's 15 men in
Hmm.
a hotel bar. As I go to my room, like, are they going to follow you on the elevator? Are they? And that's just this natural thing that I think about. And then I would say something like that to him, and we have conversations, and he's pretty open to talking about it. But it's just things that you don't think about as a
There.
Joe Schmo
Right.
normal.
I mean, look, we at work we have that big men's restroom,
Big Blue.
Big Blue.
Yeah.
There is a little wall, and then it has like two little urinals right there.
Yeah, I've never been in there.
I will, and then you have like one wall that has all of them
Oh, yeah.
with no dividers, no nothing. It's just like 8 or 9 in a row, and then you have this little
Like
wall,
a
and there's like
trough.
two, pretty much, yeah, urinal troughs, pretty much, yeah. I purposely, if I will go over to those two that are behind the wall,
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't want anybody, like this is something I think about every day. I don't want anyone to think, well,
He's trying to look at me because he
yes,
likes penis.
right. If there's people in there
Like,
and
you
those
fucking
two,
wish.
if there's people like if
Yeah.
there's people over there at the two or there's people in there, I'll just go to a stall.
Yeah.
I have no problem doing that. I will distance myself as far away from anybody because I'm like I don't want anyone to ever even try to say anything.
No,
And
you don't even want him to. No,
no, and we work not to say that somebody would,
but you have to
but
protect yourself for these
I'm not putting
things
myself in a position to. Yeah, you got to protect yourself, and that's the stuff that we think about every
all
day.
the time.
But I can guarantee you, there's a lot of 99% of the people we work with don't even think anything of that. They don't think about that at all.
No, and I bet they're all looking at penis. They're like, I mean,
Same.
no, I don't think most people do think. I mean, I think about that about like because Kansas City put in those gender neutral bathrooms.
Yes.
And a lot of people were like,
Oh, livid.
oh, which is so insane to me because
I wonder
they
how many
don't
bathrooms these
feel
people have in their houses is
safe.
what I ask.
Well, and then they always talk about there's only one bathroom on the plane, so I hope you better
Right.
like that one. But they're like, they don't feel safe because of, say, a trans person or whatever. But like, what about? And I'm not saying obviously gay people aren't just on the prowl trying to attack people in bathrooms.
Yeah.
But it's like, where would you feel safe going to the bathroom? Like,
Yes.
are you worried about gay people coming for you? Because that's not really the problem
No.
here. And I feel like in all of history, the problem is usually straight men raping other people. Like,
I mean,
and I don't know the science behind that or those stats, but I feel like we're worried about the wrong thing here.
Before I got rid of TikTok, there is this lady. She's a lawyer. She's trans, male to female, and I followed her. And every week she would across the country take the number of sex crimes against children, and she would break it down into who it was, ethnicity, gender, and occupation. It took 2.5 years of her doing this before the first drag queen made the list, and then furthering doing the evidence or like research into it, she pulled him off of it because the drag queen was just accused of it, and then after they had the trial, come to find out there was no evidence whatsoever of it. It was actually the boy's father that they blamed this drag queen on.
Oh my goodness.
And so it was like,
don't read them books.
In the years of her doing that, it was always the same. It was a youth pastor, some sort of authoritarian figure, a teacher.
Yeah.
The common
well, they
trends
go to
of what we
those
know.
jobs because that's where the kids are vulnerable and where they have access.
And
Boy Scout leader.
I just started watching this Netflix documentary on the Boy
That
Scouts.
Boy Scout one is insane. The fact that there's still a thing.
I made it 20 minutes before I just was like, I got to stop. This is too much.
I don't know how far you're in, but they were moving them around. Like there's multiple complaints, so they just literally moved them to a different city.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's insane.
And then I think about all of the people who were, after you watch this Boy Scout thing, obviously, and you start thinking about all of the boys that were attacked by a leader that they trusted. Those are men out here in the world somewhere. Like, are they getting help? Are they talking to someone? Or are they just shoving it down and using that to fuel hate or possibly continuing the cycle?
Like, right. Hopefully not.
That
Hopefully
guy at my work or whatever, the one in my area that was like touching his kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he was a kid of like family of 16. Not making excuses by any means, but likely that it was done to him. And now he's hurt another kid, but he was Mr. Catholic, wanted to be a deacon in his church, gave me judgy looks about any single thing.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he was one of the ones that I was the most worried about having to work with because being a queer person, because he was so Catholic-y and so in not anti-Catholic, but in that way that's like, I'm better than you because I go to church type of thing.
Right.
And the whole
Yeah.
time
No,
he's
and you're
just like
not.
a
Yeah.
creeper.
Yeah. Well, right. You're like, you're not better than me because I'm not doing what you're
But
doing.
maybe that's the other thing, like, all the hate is fueled because it's projection, because if you keep the people looking at the wrong thing, then they're not looking at me. If he keeps constantly talking about gay is wrong and abortion is bad and whatever, then they're not looking at what he's doing in his
Right.
home.
Well, because he's
Keep the
projecting
focus
the
on these people.
narrative of what is kind of seen as a norm of hate
Yeah,
while he's out here doing what he's doing
yeah,
behind closed doors, and it's absolutely terrible. And
awful.
yeah, hopefully there's help for that kid. I mean, it's even upstairs at work, with what was it, the one
Oh,
guy and his wife with
yeah.
what are we doing? It's like, what?
Why? What?
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking ridiculous, but
That is ridiculous, but gosh forbid somebody's reading a book to a kid at a school who's dressed different. Like,
well,
that
and
one's
I've
wild.
seen, at least up here, I mean, I've seen kids who are very, especially with, Hensley being in middle school now, and kids are starting to figure out their
Yeah, that's a
identity
busy time.
themselves.
Yeah.
I've seen there's a couple kids that come out of the school at the end of school, they're like I guess they walk home or they're car riders or whatever, but I see them and they're wearing like a pride shirt
Mm-hmm.
or a trans shirt
Yeah.
or something, and it just brings me joy to see something like that because it's
Yeah.
like you feel safe enough at home
Yeah.
and with your peers to express yourself how you see yourself, and
Right.
we didn't have that growing up,
No. Mm-mm.
so it's wonderful to see. But
That'd be my niece had a like "Love is Love" sticker, and one of her friends, I don't know that they're friends anymore, but her mom realized that she liked women later in life, ended up divorcing her dad, and then that guy ended up swinging very, very much to the other side of the right and religious and hating all gay people. And then the mom is just like living her life or whatever. But my niece, like, I can't imagine being in school and like when I was in school and somebody having like a gay parent, like
yeah,
that's just not, I just can't fathom that. Like I can obviously now, obviously,
right.
but back when I put myself as like a 10-year-old, like, and everyone's like, well, how do you explain it? And how do you do all this stuff? It's like, I don't know. How do you explain the straight stuff? Like none of it makes sense to
See,
kids,
why do we
hopefully.
have to explain it? Why does it have
Yeah,
to be
it doesn't.
explained? Why
Yeah.
can't it just be, hey, this is so and so's dad and so and so's other dad? Like they're
Hmm.
dads.
I always
Done.
wonder, sometimes I wonder about like, because when I was dating women or whatever, and my niece and nephew were younger or whatever, it was never really talked about. Like, I don't really think it needs to be talked about, but I'm curious if there was conversations at home about it or not. I never asked my brother, but like,
Yeah.
they never treated me any different. Or
Yeah.
the only reason they wouldn't, the only reason they would treat the people I was with different is if those people were treating me different. Like,
Sure.
they didn't think that that was a good match, and they're like, we don't want that lunatic around our
Yeah.
kids, which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't feel that there ever needs to be an explanation. I think it's, kind of like how I feel about coming out. I don't feel, if you feel you need to come out, then come out. If you don't feel you need to, then don't.
Yeah.
Just because why do we have to? Why does anybody have to? Why don't you just date the person that you're comfortable with, you want to be with, and then you move on with it?
Yeah. And you're like, oh,
Yeah. And if you can't accept who I'm with, then that's on you to not accept that.
yeah.
So, but do you feel now through your journey, are you finding yourself more like, you're fitting into where you want to be
Yeah, I feel
more?
like it's just more turned in, even just like removing myself from trying to put in a box. Like, what do I do that makes me happy? Like, I really like water aerobics. And so I've been doing that a lot. And it's not necessarily about, it's about being my authentic self in the world. And it's not about, I have to go to X amount of events to be gay enough.
Right.
And I think that one
Yeah.
of the first people I dated, after like my first girlfriend, and that one was a hot mess, but, well, the second one wasn't great either, but there was a lot of times that she said that I wasn't gay enough, or
What's
because I
her
had
name?
put on my dating profile when we met bi, because I was still figuring myself
Yeah.
out, and that's the one that made the most sense to me. And I don't know if she didn't see it or she didn't care, but she had a lot of like, when's the last time you slept with a guy? That's not long enough. And
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think that you're gay enough. And it was kind of like and that wasn't about me. Like, in retrospect, it was about, like, the fact that she was still fucking her ex and, like,
Yeah.
I was a pretty okay partner. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
perfect, nobody is, but
Right.
they had to find something wrong with me to justify whatever, but, like, I think that some of the times and again, in both this transition or whatever, like, I'm not gay enough, because that's kinda still in there, like, I'm not gay enough to be her partner or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna not do something that makes me happy because I'm worried about this gay label thing."
Right.
But I'm also not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm straight now." Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm dating this guy, so now I'm straight," and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just less about worried ab this is also just getting older, but worried less about what other people think
Yeah. Who cares?
and what other people are trying to, like, figure out about me, because the older I get, the more I realize I don't think that much about other people. I don't my friends and family, I love them. I want them to be
Yes.
happy. If they are with a boy or a girl or 3 girls and 7 dogs, not like the dogs, not the sexual,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
but
yeah.
whatever you're doing that makes you happy is all that matters. So, I think that if I giving myself that grace that I give to, like, my close friends and people I love, like, that just makes it better. So, I think it just in my journey, it's just more about, like, am I happy? Do I feel calm? And do I feel, like, secure? And that's
Yes.
honestly all I care about anymore. Like,
I think that's
happy comes and goes, but, like, do I
yeah.
feel secure? Am I stable? Am I doing things that make me healthier
Right.
or whatever? And
Well, I
so
think that's super important that you say that because I think that's what we all want, regardless
I
of
hopefully
part of the
everybody
queer
wants
community,
that.
part of the non-queer community.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to feel safe, secure, happy.
Right.
That's why you're with the person that you're with. That's why you live where you do. That's why you do what you do. That's
Right.
why we all do that. And that's the thing is like queer people are doing the same thing that non-queer people are doing. We just kind of think about every one of our actions a little bit more at times because of the effect it might have on that non-queer community.
Right.
And we don't mean for it to be in a negative way. And you say that we don't, I just don't care what people think. And you're right, we don't care what people think, but in the back of our mind, we're still out there going,
You're aware of it
you're
still.
aware.
And even
Yes.
that awareness maybe is a care, but, like, and I try to tell,
It's a
like,
care enough to be protective of yourself, I think
yeah,
is what it is. It's not a care enough that it's like, I'm going
I'm
to
gonna
change who I am
change me. It's just
around.
like an awareness that maybe I have to be a little have a head on a swivel. I tell this to, like, one of my really good friends in high school was having her son was having trouble, and she's my friend from high school. Her son was in high school getting bullied, which seems like it happens all the time to a
Yeah.
lot of different people. He was saying that somebody was making fun of him about something. I was like, "Is he paying your bills?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Is he gonna pay your bills for the rest of your life? So who gives a shit?" And it's at 18 is different, 16 is different in high school,
Yes.
but that's so then like when I'm giving my friends all this advice, give yourself some grace, give yourself some forgiveness as long as you're happy and you're working toward what makes you happier or content or whatever, like who cares?
Yeah.
And so like if I can tell my friends this, like to remind myself, like really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I do sometimes, like, wish I had more flaggy stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
like, I wanna be like but it
But
doesn't
finding your pansexual journey, there's a new flag. You can buy a new flag.
there is a new flag.
I know.
The lesbian flag is the prettiest one, I thought.
It is. I mean, it is pretty. That's why
With
I did the
ball
colors on
pinks
the
and
lights
stuff.
today. This is the pansexual colors, by the way. I did
Ooh.
that to set up for. I figured we would be just the kind of white yellow in between the pink and the blue.
Yeah,
As we
I'm
sat here.
very much white.
Yeah.
Very pale, especially in January.
But it's you're right, and all we want to do is just work towards happiness, and that's and you can't spell happiness without PENIS, by the way.
That's just and my friend look, same similar conversation, but my friends were talking about, like, what's different about us, like, as we get older and, like, none of us have kids or whatever, but talking about, like, going back to, like, play and, like, I have a lot more free time than someone with kids or whatever, but, like,
Yeah.
what makes you wanna focus more on play or having fun in your life? And I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Well, because what else am I doing?"
Yeah.
Like, what I mean,
But
why
also do what you want to do.
yeah, it's
Like,
more like, well, you have maybe 30 years left, depending like, it's not like
well,
I
I
feel
don't
like
want to
I'm
think
gonna
about that.
die or whatever, but it's also like, well, so you just walk this quote unquote straight and narrow of what everyone thinks you should do, and then all of a sudden you turn 50 and you're like, wait a second, this wasn't
Yeah.
it. I just want to play and do fun stuff and do whatever I want.
Yeah. And if you have the means and capability, then
Yeah, I'm very lucky with that,
yeah,
for
and you're
sure.
safe, do it. Why not?
Yeah,
Uh, who cares? But
yeah.
all right, Kelly. Well, the last question is, and I think you kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. We were talking about it, but we ask everybody, what does pride mean to you?
I was thinking about this because I heard you say it before, but I think it's like unapologetically being yourself. And I think that that is just like an everyday thing. And I think like thinking about it like in the queer community, pride is like that and then some. And it's like taking that, I'm going to be myself and I'm going to show the world that it can look like this. So it's like the unapologetically myself that hopefully we can walk around with all the time, but it's like the then putting it out in the world with like excitement and happiness and being
Yeah,
like, this is what it looks like. This is one of the colors of these flags. And it just being completely me and doing it with confidence and not thinking twice about that. Like, I'm going to be me. This is what that looks like. I'm going to be holding hands with whoever I want
sure.
and not having that self doubt, hopefully, which would be nice for everybody to have.
Yeah, I think it takes a strong internal fortitude of somebody to not have to have very minimal self-doubt, especially kind of in
Yeah.
our community, but just in general, being unapologetically yourself, it
Yeah.
works. You have to work so hard to being that way.
You
And
really have to just not care what anybody else thinks, which is really hard, but
well, it's hard in this day and age when, like you said earlier, when you look on social media and you only ever see the happiness of there. You only see the
oh, that one
people.
is exhausting.
I think it's either like this balloon of happiness
Yeah.
or it's the complete opposite where it's like the 100%, like I am at rock bottom
Yeah.
because of this, and this. So it's like there's no in between of like daily life of like
I got
today
my
was an okay
groceries
day.
and no bags broke.
Yeah.
I saw too many people at, I guess I will say at work, but just friends too. Their social media was so opposite from what their life actually looked like that I'm just not on it anymore because it just seems so fake.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're so happy. He's such a dick. Oh, we're
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah.
He's such a dick.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. You're
Well,
convincing yourself, maybe. And there's,
and again, that's like you said, the way I interpret it is that you're not, when you do stuff like that, when you're not honest all the time with yourself of where you're at in life, with yourself of who you are, your relationships, or even if you don't have relationships, just you're not,
just you being you. Yeah.
if you can't be honest with you being you and where you are in life, but you project that, it's hard to take you seriously.
It's hard to take you seriously. And then people cling to it even harder. And then, yeah. When people are just, and maybe again, getting older or whatever, it's just, I'm so sick of all that crap.
Well, it's like when when you turn that question back around on that person asking why you don't have kids, you're like, well, why do you have kids? You turn that back around on
Yeah.
them, you go, are you really this happy?
I've never
If-
heard
If
that.
you, oh, they'll be like, yeah, I am.
I've
And
never
then they'll
been
be the
like,
first
are
one
you
to turn
happy with
around.
kids or whatever, but
Yeah.
I've been like, yeah, are you?
No.
Why would you have kids?
Yeah,
How could you ask me that?
right. I was just
I don't
curious.
get it.
You got fuck trophies, so just
I
asking.
don't get I have this wallet full of money
Yeah.
and all this free time and all this sleep, and all you do is say how tired you are and how expensive kids are.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
you tell me why you're doing
You're like
this.
can't relate. Well, that's wonderful, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun.
This was really
See,
fun.
so bad,
And I
right?
did pretty good with eye contact,
Oh no, you did great.
even though it didn't matter.
No, because we're
Yeah.
just here hanging out together.
Cool.
And
Hope
you did
Mark's
wonderful.
got tacos done.
Now it's taco time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for everyone for listening. So everyone's a little queer. We'll see you next time. Want to join us and tell your journey? Visit our link tree for ways to sign up and follow us across all social medias at Everyone's a Little Queer Pod. Let's celebrate the beauty of our queer community together.